On this episode, we talk to real estate agent Tracy Leelalumlert about Bangkok's mystifying property market.
So if you've ever lived in Bangkok as a tenant, a landlord, or someone looking for an investment, you'll dig this episode of the Bangkok Podcast.
Sawadee krap, this be the Bangkok Podcast. My name is Greg Jorgensen, a Canadian who came to Bangkok in 2001 and is excited to hear about the news they are going to finally implement a single ticket transit card, just as I was excited about the news in 2024, 2020, 2018, 2015, 2010, 2008. You get the idea.
No doubt. That is a truism for sure. And I'm Ed Knuth, an American who came to Thailand on a one-year teaching contract almost 26 years ago. Fell in love with finally deciding I had Thailand figured out until I realized once again I had no clue what's going on in this country, so I never left.
Hey, do you understand things now? Yeah, I think I'm getting a good beat on it. Psych! And then they pull the rug out and you fall into a tumble of pad Thai noodles.
That is kind of true. I feel that I pulled together an understanding of Bangkok and Thailand and Thai culture, and I'm good with it. I'm like, I feel settled, and then something will happen, some other thing will happen that just doesn't fit my model.
We're like indoor cats, because we're looking around. We're like, all right, I get how all the rooms fit together.
I got this figured out.
I got it. I got the world figured out. And then someone leaves the door open accidentally, and they're like, what the hell?
That's basically right. That's
funny.
Okay, we want to give a big thanks to all of our patrons who support the show. Patrons get every episode a day early, behind-the-scenes photos of our interviews, a heads up to send questions to upcoming guests, and access to our Discord server to chat with me, Greg, and other listeners around the world. But best of all, patrons also get an unscripted, uncensored bonus episode every week where we riff on current events and Bangkok topics. On this week's bonus show, we chatted about Greg's mini vacation as his son is on summer vacation, meaning no homework, no studying, and no rush mornings. Some quick discussions on how AI is now able to easily decipher the writing in Greg's journal he's writing for his son, who, like most kids today, has never been taught how to read cursive. And a conversation about when or if the ongoing crackdown on Thai nominees will actually stick this time, which leads into a chat about the hundreds of previous government initiatives that exploded into prominence and then quickly faded into the ether. To learn how to become a patron and get all this good stuff, plus full access to over 800 bonus and regular back episodes, click the support button at the top of our website.
That's right. And as always, if you have a comment, a show idea, or just want to say hi, head to BangkokPodcast.com, click the little microphone button on the bottom right, and leave us a voicemail that we will play on the show. All right. Well, in this episode, hot off of another episode about the mysteries of the real estate market in Bangkok, we are going to talk to an actual real estate professional. Now, not long after our previous show aired, we got to talking with Tracy Leelalumlert, founder and managing director of Aspire, a real estate agency in Bangkok with expertise in condos and houses for the Thai and foreign market. Now, Ed and I were very clear on our show that we did first that we were not real estate pros, so we were happy when Tracy agreed to come on the show and give us her perspective as someone who is. It's a hot topic in Thailand right now as authorities are cracking down on company nominees and shining their lights into the dark corners of the often opaque Thai real estate market, which is always interesting, hard to figure out, but never boring. So we are happy to have Tracy on the show to help us dig in a little bit further and try to figure things out. And a quick technical note, for some reason, the program we were using to record this episode decided to use my iPhone microphone instead of my main microphone as the input source. Super awesome noob mistake. So my track sounds a little bit tinny, but thankfully Tracy does most of the talking. So here we are talking to Tracy from Aspire. All right, we are psyched to be talking to someone who contacted us actually in the wake of a recent episode we did where we were discussing the condo market in Thailand and the real estate market in Bangkok in general. And it's very nice to be joined by Tracy Leelalumlert. Did I pronounce that correctly, Tracy?
Yes.
Okay, close
Perfect.
enough. Well,
Close
Tracy,
enough. Close enough for wrong.
you're the MD of a company called Aspire Thailand, and it is a boutique real estate agency. Very nice to have you here, and thank you for coming on to talk about this and educate us a little bit more. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your company and what you do.
Well, thank you for having me here today. So, I listened to your episode and I was fascinated by the two guys, chit-chatting about Bangkok and, Thailand real estate in general. I myself, I'm Thai local, and I have been in real estate sector for over 10 years now. Been, doing the rental, buy, sale, condo, house, land, buildings here in Bangkok primarily. For now 10 years. I have a team of like 5-6 people that working with me. And for me, what I hope to be, to share, in this podcast is to share some insights, some local insights, hand-on experience, questions we got, response we give to clients, and perhaps it is informative.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. It's a bit of an interesting market because as foreigners, we're trying to understand it from our perspective, and we're sort of outside looking in. And of course, there are restrictions about this. The big question that I think a lot of people sort of wrestle with, and you read about it online, it goes this way, it goes this way, it goes back and forth, is that are condos a good investment in Bangkok? And I don't think there's a straightforward answer to that. But what would your answer be to that? And sorry, I'm gonna have to what's the word I'm thinking of? Preface that with a little bit of a disclaimer. Now, obviously, you and I have talked about this before we started talking today. But the problem with this question is that for a long time, we've wondered how to have someone on the show to talk about that, because obviously you're not going to say, don't buy real estate in Bangkok. It's terrible. Do boo. It's like if we invited a dairy farmer onto the show and he tried to convince everyone not to drink milk. Like, obviously, that's not going to be your answer. But there is a nuance there that I think we have to acknowledge. So when people ask that question, what is your response?
Well, let me try to be as neutral as possible. Well, I think the answer is it depends on your purpose. If you have some cash because you just, are retired, or you got some heritage from, your grandparents, and, you got some extra cash, and you compare that to investing in the stock market or crypto or, real estate, this is one of the I would say good asset, where in Bangkok, I know for sure, you can expect around ROI of 4% at the moment. Maybe like 7 or 8 years ago, we can expect around 7%.
What you're talking about is general appreciation over time.
No,
So
I'm talking about the annual yield, where you can expect, like, you buy it at 5 million baht, you receive a rental, monthly rental of around like for I don't know, 25,000 baht, so we calculate that, divide times 12 months, so the annual revenue of the rental, a straightforward thing, divided by how much you bought it for. Then
Okay.
at the moment Bangkok market offer around 4% in general.
Okay, I want to clarify this, because obviously people buy real estate for different reasons. So one issue, and I think that it might actually be more pertinent to talk about expats who are buying a place that they're going to live in, that they expect to appreciate in value, which typically happens in the West. Now, there's no guarantee that any asset is going to increase, but traditionally real estate is considered this safe investment. I'm American, and it's a cliche that, a young American couple, they buy a house to raise a family, and they pay off their mortgage over 30 years. But when they sell it, it has appreciated so much that it's actually an asset. So they lived in it, so they got the value of living in it, but then it also turned out to be an investment. And so I think we want to separate these two things. What you're saying is there is a rental market, there is a rental yield, but so I accept that. But what about the case of I buy a condo and I spend 5 million baht, and then in 10 years I want to upgrade am I going to be able to sell it, do you think, at a higher price, if you correct for inflation, than I bought it at?
Yeah, the Bangkok condo market has that characteristic of like doesn't fall down. It is growing, appreciating slowly. So I mean, I bought a condominium 10 years ago myself. I bought it at around like 4 million baht. And now that condominium in Sukhumvit 71 area in Prakanong has the market value at around, let's say, 7 million baht, 7.5 million baht. It's been 10 years. And where do I get this number from? Like 7.5 million. I took this number from 2 years ago. One of my neighbor on the same floor, sold it for around that kind of price.
Yeah, I wanted to discuss that point. Because this is our second episode on this, we're going to get into the weeds a little bit. Because in the first episode, we talked about this problem that I didn't know about, and maybe you could talk about it a little bit. One of the issues in the first episode was that there's no automatic public reporting of sales. So apparently, and again, I'm new to this real estate game, but apparently in Europe and in the US, real property sales are a matter of public record. So when someone sells property, it's public information that everyone can access. So everyone knows how much stuff is actually selling for, not the asking price. So I like your example, because what you're saying is you're basing the value of your condo on a sale, correct?
Right.
Not a listing. Yeah. So is this accurate? Like if I'm a potential buyer in Thailand and I want to know what things are actually selling for, do I have a way to find that out?
You are right. We don't have the public information.
Record.
You cannot go to the land office today, walk in and say, I want to know this building project, how much, the history of the sales in the last 5 years. There is no such public information, organization that will give you that information. So, and how we come to, as a buyer or as a seller, if you are a seller today, you want to sell your property, you want to know what is the market price, what is the right price for it.
Sure.
Or if you are the buyer, you want to buy the property, you want to know what would be the best price you can get. So that is what we are talking about here. How people find that information is really, like they perhaps, there are, they call valuation company. There are such, professional. These people are licensed and banks hire them to appraise, to evaluate the price of the property before they grant the loan, right? So they produce report, there are the ways that they come up with the numbers, they check the real time, what are offering, the list price that you are talking about, what are offering in the market, 3, 4, 5 of them, and then they came up with the median price. And that is sort of, the current offering market value of that property. That's not the sold price.
The critique is that the listed prices are kind of a fantasy and things are not selling at that price. But your point though is, I mean, if you have a way to get true information, in your case, like you got it from a friend who had an actual sale.
You go to the juristic office, you ask them these kind of questions, you ask your neighbors, you have to do your own self-research. Yeah.
So it seems like a lot more onus. The onus is on the buyer to do his own research and do a lot more work than what
definitely.
used to back home.
Definitely, it is your personal responsibility to find out, what is the right price there. And yeah, like on the internet, you see 100 units in the building, but there are like 80 listings in the unit. The reason for that is because those listings or asking price that you see on the internet are, they are listed by the marketplace, like an online magazine, and agents like us, pay for the advertisement to list there, and there is no regulation. One agency can list one property in 5 different listings with different picture, just to try to
I see.
attract the leads.
Right,
That's
right.
one of the real reason why, the information on the internet is so inaccurate. And you call and then you find out that, oh, it's no longer for sale, but do you want to see other projects?
Right.
It's yeah, it's how it's operating here in Thailand, unfortunately.
I don't want to use the word scam. That's the wrong word. But I think unregulated is a better word. I think you just have to be prepared that there's no central body overseeing these kind of things and keeping everything in check. It strangely reminds me of a story years and years ago when a friend was here and he got suckered into a gem scam. And he bought some fake gems in Khao San Road like an idiot. And he left. And he asked me, please try to get my money back. And I was like, okay, I'll see what I can do. And I took them down to the tourist police down in Khao San Road, and I talked to a guy there. And his response was basically like, there's no law against overcharging for something. These are worth a little bit of money. They're worth $10. The fact that your friend bought them for $500, there's no law.
Yeah, caveat emptor, right? Buyer beware.
Right. So, Ed and I talked about this on the show we did briefly. Like, there's a condo in my building. I think it's about 160 square meters or something like that. I wish I lived in a place that big, but it's been on sale since I moved into this building about 15 years ago, and it's like 16 million baht, which is crazy. And like, so we see that a lot. We see that these empty condos are just empty and for sale for years. And there doesn't seem to be any pressure for the owners to offload them or negotiate. Like, why is that? Is that a Thai thing? Is it just sort of...
The question is really this problem of what looks like oversupply. So everyone knows there's thousands of empty condos.
It is oversupply, period.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like oversupply. It is a very oversupply market, in condo market here in Bangkok.
Okay, so the question is, why don't prices come down? That's the market mechanism.
If the seller is really, really, really want to sell, they don't need to sell. They have 2, 3, 4, 5 units, I mean, this is what I discovered, and it's very fascinating during the COVID time. That was the really tough time, right? And during that time, we were still operating. And we found out, like so many owners are, how to say that, like they are intact to this, they have enough wealth, and maybe Thai owners in general, have 2, 3, 4, 5 properties, that can sit there without doing anything with it. If you own a 2-bedroom condominium in Phrom Phong, right next to the M Sphere and the M Quartier, right? You want the price to be, around 250,000 baht per square meters, and you want to preserve that value. There is no reason, why. I mean, we don't have flood today. We don't have Bangkok flood today.
There's kind of this idea of the way a market is supposed to work, a true market. And I'm sure there's weird things about the American property market or the European, but from Farang eyes, through the eyes of foreigners, the market in Thailand just doesn't work like a normal market. Because when you say we want to preserve the value, that's not really a market mechanism. In other words, if I have one of these condos, if I own one of these condos that you're talking about, and let's say I would like to sell it for 10 million baht, okay? 2 million, or 2-bedroom near Phrom Phong. That's what I want to sell it for, 10 million baht. So I advertise for 10 million. No buyers, no buyers, no buyers. 6 months, 8 months, 1 year. Now it's been sitting empty. I've lost time and I've lost revenue. And so in a normal market, I lower my price to 9 million. I'm trying to find the market price, the true market price. So my sales price is responding to demand. But the critique, the thing that we're all trying to understand is that doesn't seem to be happening in Thailand. In other words, people, like you're saying, they want to preserve that price. So they'll wait 5 years or 10 years, like Greg's story, like this place has been sitting empty. So the owners are actually losing money. They're losing money by just sitting there and not lowering the price to meet demand. So one explanation is the owners are so wealthy that they don't need to lower the price to make the sale. So
that
it just doesn't.
Most of the case.
Yeah. Okay.
That is most of the case.
Yeah. Okay. So that's an answer.
That's what we are encountering. Like that's the deals and negotiation that is going on our table right now. There are deals. Of like what a condominium in Sathorn that the owner is willing to come down the price down to 15 million baht, a 2-bedroom apartment, and the buyer are like asking like, at least 14 and a half, like 500,000 baht difference. And the owner are in such a wealthy position where this is a price I want. You can take it or leave it. So this is, I think you got it right. There are a lot of wealthy owners that, not really in a desperate situation.
Yeah. And I think
need to sell.
Like obviously people negotiate on real estate prices. I've got friends who have negotiated with buyers too. So it does happen. But I think for whatever reason, I think that the majority of the things that we see are just maybe these really, really rich people that own so many properties. And there are so many of these people that really that sort of overshadows the fact that there are people out there who do negotiate. But a lot of them just can afford to sit there and say, this is my price, take it or leave it.
Right.
Yeah, because we have this Thai mentality where they will give it away. They will hand it to their next generations.
That's what we talked about on the show. Like there are two ways to look at a purchase, and it's purchasing to invest or purchasing to live in. And we bought our place to live in. Like we're not going to sell it. And when I kick the bucket, I'm just going to give it to my son. And I want to say, like, you own this place now. That's a really valuable thing to have. So keep it.
Sure.
Don't try and make money off of it. Like use it.
I have a question. Another explanation that you see online is that the oversupply is partly due to foreigners, and it's usually Chinese. And the idea is that you have wealthy Chinese people, and they don't trust Chinese banks or the Chinese government. So they fly into Bangkok, they buy some condos, and then they go home. And they could be renting, but they don't have anyone here. Maybe they hire you to be a rental agent. But the idea is they're just using Bangkok condos as a bank.
To park the money, to diversify.
Just park the money. And, they're also wealthy, so they could be making rental income, but they don't really care. They don't want the money in China. So they just put it in condos in Thailand. They fly back home. And so the condo just sits there. So this is part of the reason there are these empty condos. No one's making money off of it directly. It is appreciating, like you said, it will appreciate over time. Do you think this is true? Are there a lot of these foreign-owned condos that no one's living there and no one's renting?
Well, I will answer just like what the policeman tell to your friend who got scammed in Gems. Like we don't have any rules or regulation to keep people owning condominium and not using it.
Right.
And not living it. So last year, if you look at the statistics, Chinese are still the number one foreign buyers who buy the property here. Burmese as well, right? Because of the geopolitics issues.
Wow.
India also came here. Russian. We became like a safe haven for
haven,
people that want to diversify. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. There was the same problem in Vancouver in Canada where I grew up as a kid. So many Chinese and Middle Eastern buyers were coming in and buying up entire blocks of the city and entire buildings that they would use for 1 month a year when they came on a trip or something like that. And it was really degrading the local economy. You know, they bought up an entire building, and then all of the shops in that building had no customers. So it had a knock-on effect to the local community as well. So I believe they enacted a law against foreign ownership in Vancouver a few years ago, because it was really affecting the market, and it was skewing all the numbers in weird ways.
And that's why that comes some frustration where foreigner ask, why do we have this limitation of 4951, you know? I mean, a freehold condominium, I think that's honestly, personally, I think that's really fair, where, you know, a foreigner can come here, buy a freehold condominium that they can transfer to their children, as long as it is within the building's quota of foreign quota, not over 49%. And when they exit, you know, when they sell, they have we foreigners have no barriers in selling a condominium that they own, like a freehold condominium. So it means that, you know, they can sell it to a Thai, they can sell it to a foreigner as well. No restriction at all.
Well, our research, and again, you're in the game, so I trust you better. But our research, or what some foreigners were complaining about, is that they did have trouble selling because they couldn't find buyers at the alleged price. You know, this is back to that same issue. So they think that their condo's worth $8 million. You know, they bought it for $6 million. They've been living there 5 years. They think it's worth $8 million now. They want to exit, but they can't find any buyers. When we talked about difficulty of exit, we did not mean there were like illegal barriers. There's no legal barrier.
I see.
But the question was, foreigners were finding out that they can't sell what they bought at the alleged market value.
If we're talking about this year, it is a tough time, you know, to trying to find the buyers because of, you know, the economy is very uncertain. People tend to hesitate to do a long-term commitment like buying, right? So renting is much more flexible. This is not a foreign problem. This is Thai seller also
Sure.
has that problem of, you know, listing it in a price that is unrealistic, I would say, you know, like that nobody's gonna pull the trigger for that. If we investigate in like how come he came up with that price, you know, what is that based on, you know, is a wish list price, or is it the real market price? Market price, what I mean is like a median price where the actual seller in the same building are actually asking for that number, right? 3, 4, 5 people. And of course, you know, demand and supply, the lowest one will go first. The best deal, price per square meter that is the lowest with the right view, you know, the right interior design will go first.
I'm curious, Tracy, in your case, do you have a preference whether you're arranging a rental situation or a purchasing situation? So if as a foreigner, if I come to you and I say, hey, I'm looking for a place to live, I want to live there, I've got some money, I probably could afford to buy something, but I also could just rent. What would be your advice to me? Would you say, dude, just rent? Or you know, you know, because for foreigners, for us, there is like a buy versus rent choice. Yeah. For a place to live, like a place we're going to live in. Do you care? Do you? What do you do in this situation?
We provide that kind of consulting for clients as well, and it's really depending on their purpose, right? If their lifestyle is they plan to stay here for 10 years, then take out the calculator and just looking at staying here for 10 years, perhaps buying is better than renting. Yeah, and when people want to buy a villa, for example, I would recommend the client, like, why do you want to buy the villa? It's so complicated. Why not renting? Unless there are Thai wife or Thai girlfriend sitting next to them and, wanting to influence the foreign boyfriend, to buy the villa under her name or something like that. But I would do a straightforward, like renting is perhaps a better idea, less complication. No need to, look at what nominee type person, the exit is much more straightforward, right? Really, it's about the short term, the lifestyle, the if you want to move every few years, to a new place, better place, newer place, then renting could be a really better option. But if really there are, and the buildings or projects in Bangkok condo is strange, there is this rule about location, location, location. But then, when it comes to the project in Thailand, it is project by project. It means that even though it is next to the BTS Chong Non Si or Prompong, um, you need, as a buyer, you need to do your own due diligence. Go to juristic, ask for the balance sheet of the, how the building is doing, how well maintained it is, how much cash do they have, is there
Right.
any problem, and ask the question, like how many units have been sold in the last 2 or 3 years. They need to give you that kind of information. That is the due diligence that you need to do, because
Okay, so that's public.
some building is really popular for some reason, because it is like the Millennium Residence, like a lot of embassy people, like it's in a good location. Price per square meter is still not too high, for example. So it is really a project by project here in Bangkok. Like one of the good question is it popular for rental? Because if it is, then this is a in high demand, right? And then you won't have any problem when you want to rent it out. So these are little things that add up together as a matter of the good criteria for buying.
So that information is public, or you can get that kind of information from.
I don't know if that like Thai style or foreign style. When you go to the juristic manager and say, I'm interested in buying this condominium, and I want some information to review, I think you have the right. You have the right to do that. And even if just for a simple rental stuff, I see a lot of foreigners, like go with the freelance agent for rental, and the agent urge them, make a booking now, or you lose the opportunity for this unit. And not everyone asks for the ownership document from the agent. Like, show me the title of the owner, show me that the bank account that I'm transferring belongs to the owner. Those are the due diligence that people don't do, and we as the consumer have the right to ask for these questions from the agent, from the juristic office.
Yeah. So basically it's extremely subjective. It depends on a case by case basis, and you have to do a lot more work than maybe that you think you might need to do.
I'm sorry to give you that that truth, but
That's fine.
no,
but
I had. But that's the truth. I had one friend acquaintance, who came to me and say, I have a piece of land in Udon Thani. It is under my wife's name. We want to sell it. Can you help? And I say, no, we don't do anything in Udon Thani. We don't know enough of the market. Don't know we cannot help. But I can recommend you what to do. Go on the website. Look for the agent that lists the similar rent in your area, in your district, and call them and interview them, and that person was like, oh my god, I'm so disappointed. That's a lot of work. I thought, like there could be some agent that would take this burden out of my shoulder and then do it for me. And I said, no, not especially not in this kind of current economic situation. There is no heroic agent that can do that for you. You have to, walk alongside with the agent, and in this journey to be able to find the new owner for your property.
Yeah. Well, that's good. As long as everyone understands that, then that's fine. But it's just, educating people about that is part of it.
Yeah, I mean, it just sounds, as you said earlier, it's just more unregulated, which means if you're a buyer, you probably need to be more careful and do more work and more due diligence, so you get what you expect to get.
Right.
True.
And following on from that, now Tracy, you seem like a trustworthy kind of person, but I don't know you very well. If I'm if I'm looking for a reputable, trustworthy real estate agent, what kind of things should I look for as a consumer?
As a buyer or as a seller?
As a, I guess, as a buyer, if I want to buy something, or seller, I
So
guess.
in Thailand, buyers don't pay commission. It is the sellers that pay commission to the agent. You have that advantage as a buyer to work closely with an agent and create a partnership or a relationship where you if the agent are trustworthy enough, you have that kind of relationship where, hey, I'm just gonna work with you. You are the buyer's agent for me, because like the buyer's agent will be working with the seller, get paid from the seller or the co-agent, and split the fee with the co-agent directly. Then if you want to find the agent that will be dedicating, right? I mean, it requires that kind of relationship where they will be running around, look for options for you, and then you get what you're looking for.
Right. But are there any, I read that the real estate agents are not licensed as we would expect in the
It is
West.
not licensed. You can be an agent. You want to be an agent today? Just put on a t-shirt that I am an agent.
I
You can
officially
be an
declare
agent
that I
today.
am a real estate agent. I officially declare that now, and no one can stop me.
Oh no, you're a foreigner. It is a preserved profession,
Oh,
not allowed for the foreigner. But all of those people that you see that are foreigners, they are just a consultant. They
mhm.
don't show up at the
Right.
land office.
There's no central database. There's no where I can look up complaints like a Better Business Bureau or anything like that.
No, no Yelps. There is no like Yelps. No, no. But I
Interesting.
mean, you ask the question, what is the criteria, right? Yeah, if you are clear about what you're looking for, you interview a couple of agents, and then you seem like you feel that the agent knows what they're talking about. I think the most important thing is that they are the expert in the area, in that particular thing. Like either they are specialized in commercial building, office building, or condominium in Ari area or in Sukhumvit area. Then we know enough about, like, every day, what kind of demands, what kind of people looking for, how many people are selling. So we kind of know in and out, and that's why we have enough confidence. Like, for example, Sukhumvit is my area of expertise, and then when people say, oh, like the price is overpriced, am I going to be in trouble in the next 10 years? And I invest myself, I'm also a landlord myself, and I see the actions that is going on in the past 10 years.
Well, as we're wrapping up here, I want to ask one last question. It's interesting because when I was growing up and in the West, the thing you always heard from your parents is save your money, buy a house early when you're young, and that will be your key investment, as Ed was talking about earlier. And that's what all the parents told all the kids back in the day when we were growing up. But things have gotten so out of control in Western countries now. I'm speaking from my experience in Canada and the US, that parents don't really tell that to their kids anymore because it's not a dream that you can realistically have now because housing prices are so out of control. Is there something similar in Thailand? Do Thai parents tell their kids buy property, invest in property, or is that something that's never really drilled into you from a young age?
It is my mom, forced me, enforced me to do that. Like, when I started my career and I rented, she wouldn't talk to me. She's so upset. She's like, you have to buy. And that's how strong mentality it is. And I'm grateful that she forced me to do that, because I now have a property where, even though it's how to say that, it depends. Like, if a 1 bedroom 3 4 5 million baht condominium, right? If you own that, you have a sense of security for the rest of your life. And now, being in a job market, you have that kind of like, you don't need a job. I mean, in terms of, if we are
Right.
financially secure, we have a place to live, we have some investment in here and there. I think it is at least, I mean, that's how I would transfer that mentality to my kids as well,
Right,
where
right.
at least you should own one place, and then the investment part, or the flexibility of moving around is an add-on.
Yeah. Well, Tracy, thanks so much for coming on and chatting about it. It's a complex topic, and I think we've found that there's no like definitive answers like this is definitely black and this is definitely white. But it's a constantly shifting market, and I think it requires everyone to, like you said, do their due diligence, and a little bit of work will save you a lot of headaches down the road.
For sure. Thank you, Tracy.
Agree.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks,
you,
Tracy,
Greg.
and everyone. Head to check out Aspire Thailand. What's the website where people can find out?
AspireThailand.com. That's it.
Pretty easy.
Straightforward.
Thank you, Tracy.
All right. Anytime I'm happy to chat. You can pick my brain for real estate stuff.
All right. If I find a suitcase with 4 or 5 million baht on the side of the road and I want to buy a place, I'll let you know.
All right.
I got to say this, man. I really appreciate Tracy and her coming on the show. You and I were like a little bit hard on her. I don't think we went too far, but she's a tough woman. She stood up to the grilling.
That's right. No, you had some great questions too. And yeah, she's lovely. It was really nice to meet her and for her to come on the show. And we told her when we started, we were very honest. We were like, look, we get that you are a real estate agent and you have a vested interest in promoting real estate in Bangkok. So
Right.
We totally understand that. And I said, we'd love to have you on the show, but you have to be okay with us maybe pushing back a little bit and saying, I don't know about that.
And she was. Right, and she was.
Yeah. So really interesting insight there. And I think, as much as she knows and as successful as she is and as well known as her company is, I still think this market is it's kind of its own unique beast, and it's possible to navigate, but I think it's much harder to understand or predict.
Yeah, I mean, I think people such as her with so much experience, she knows how to function in the market.
Right.
So from that perspective, she understands it. But that doesn't mean she knows why it is the way it is, Right.
I don't know if that is knowable. Yeah, it's just
right.
It's one of those machines with like 10,000 different gears, and you move one and it affects 500 other ones, so you can't predict.
Well, I love this topic though. To me, this topic is great because it's kind of academic in a way, because the question is, if there's an oversupply, why won't the price come down? So that's almost like a academic question. But actually, this is happening in the real world now, and it's affecting a lot of foreigners. It overlaps with the nominee thing. So I want to revisit this topic. As you pointed out, it's the Bangkok property market is, no one understands it, but it's not really boring. It's just fun to try to figure out what the hell's going on.
Yeah, that's right. And we're recording this part of our show on June 24th, and our shows are recorded a week in advance. But we should say we talked to Tracy like 3 weeks ago, so sort of the beginning of June. And there's been a couple of stories that have come out since then. Let me just read 3 headlines that I just quickly saw. One from the Bangkok Post: crackdown unlikely to hit foreign property demand. Another one says property market slowdown intensifies. Another one says rental apartment demand hikes. So, some of these headlines are directly contradicting each other, and some of them are predicting different things. So
that's right. But it's a hot topic. It's a hot topic.
It is. It's a hot topic, and it's quickly evolving. And I'm glad there's people out there like Tracy who are doing their best to stay on top of it and doing pretty well from all.
Thank you very much, Tracy. That was fantastic.
Yeah, it was great to talk to you. Thank you, Tracy. And maybe we'll have her back on maybe next year, and we can sort of check in again and see how things are doing. Because, like we said, things change pretty quick.
Sure.
All right, let's get into some love, loathe, or live with, where one of us picks a particular aspect of living in Bangkok, which we discuss to decide if it's something we love about living here, loathe about living here, or have come to accept as something that we just have to learn to live with no matter how we feel about it. And this week, Ed, you're on deck.
All right, dude, I got a question for you about Thai food. It actually doesn't apply as much for me because I'm a vegetarian, but it does apply a little bit.
Okay.
What's your take? Stuff like durian, it's the classic thing that foreigners don't like, and you and I both don't like it.
Yeah.
But there's some other Thai dishes that I think they're kind of extreme, but I'm not sure there's a foreigner consensus about it.
Okay.
And so my question for you is, what's your take on pla ra? It smells really, it's like fish sauce squared.
Yeah. Nope. Immediate loath, immediate red lights flashing, like me backing out into the green bushes like Homer Simpson. That stuff, man, is just, it's fish sauce to the power of fish sauce. It's so rank.
Plaura is it's kind of like the true test of if you're hardcore into Thai food, because there's a lot of Thai people who won't eat plaura.
I really don't get it, man. I mean, it's not even about taste. It's about just sort of like human evolution has evolved to avoid stuff that smells
right.
like that because it could be dangerous.
Well, I mean, for two guys who don't like fish sauce, like it's unlikely you were going to like plaura. But I was curious if you maybe had some weird fascination with it.
No, man. Like and like I get that some people, like my wife, hates blue cheese. She thinks it stinks, and it does.
Oh, that's funny.
But like it tastes pleasant, but that stuff, I have had it and I don't understand it. It's sort of every one of your senses is like going off.
Yeah, it's more extreme than durian. But listeners, if you haven't had it, it's just pla means fish, and I don't even know what ra means, RA, so it's just like pla ra. If you Google it, or if you're in Thailand, or you can order it, you're a brave soul if you can handle pla ra.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, a final thanks to our patrons who support the show. Patrons get a ton of cool perks and the warm, fuzzy feeling knowing that we're helping in our never-ending quest for cool content. Find out more by clicking support on our website. And connect with us online. We're Bangkok Podcast on social media, bangkokpodcast.com on the web, or simply bangkokpodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from our listeners and always reply to our messages. Unless, of course, you're a PR agent who pitches clients who have no connection to Bangkok.
That's right. You can also listen to each episode on YouTube. Send us a voicemail through our website that we'll feature on the show. Hit me up on Blue Sky. I am BKK Greg. Thank you for listening, everyone, and we'll see you back here next week.
No doubt.